Good afternoon. Today's discussion is going to be going over SB 321, which is in Congress right now. We should know soon if it's going to get passed or not. I have our expert short sale negotiator and leader of our listing department, Erin Camp, with us today to shed some light on the topics. Before we get started, I'd like to say there's just a lot of information out there and a lot of marketing going on right now. That's really just bait and switch on consumers, and a lot of billboards, a lot of commercials, and we just want to first and foremost be giving out free, transparent, open information to help advise you, the consumer, on what you should be doing to look out for your best interests, not get strong-armed into a decision that may not be in your best interest. So with that being said, Erin, I'm excited to get your expert opinion on this, so let's jump right in.
Thanks, Dale. Well, when I first started reading the 28 pages that involve the bill of 321,
right? This is ridiculous.
Yeah,
28 pages. Yeah.
I literally page 2 I had to break out the highlighter because it is getting very exciting for us. Section 13 of this bill goes into what is basically going to force the bank's hand that when we're in the process of either the consumer doing a loan modification or us as agents assisting our homeowners in a short sale, the bank is basically prohibited from foreclosing while we're actively working on a solution with the bank. We all know we start that short sale and they're anything but short. We're looking at 6 to 9 months of going back and forth with the bank and this document and that document, and all to basically come down to, so sorry, we're going to foreclose, and we've lost everything that we've worked so hard to ultimately gain. So that is the big part of this bill that I kind of want to focus on. That being said, there are basically very strict rules on how this is all going to transpire and what is going to end up happening with both the bank to keep them accountable and also us as agents and homeowners to make sure that we're all doing this to get to a greater solution. This is not something that's like, awesome, I want you to list my house as a short sale and then I'm going to sit in it for the next year or 2 years and then they can never foreclose because I'm in a short sale. The bank is now held accountable to notify you in writing every time they need something. In that letter, they tell you specifically what they need and what date it has to be into them by. If we fail to get documentation to them by the date that they have specified in that letter, that means that we have violated what we're supposed to do, and that's their loophole to get out, and now they can foreclose. So we have to be really on top of what we're doing in order to move forward.
So this sounds like it could be beneficial in the standpoint of getting everybody accountable and heading in the direction of what the goal is supposed to be when you're in a short sale is, hey, let's get this closed and move forward, or let's make this loan modification become a reality, not a game of stall tactics.
Absolutely. And those who are going through loan modifications know how frustrating it is, constantly in and in and in. So this is holding them accountable to that degree as well. We want to clean up the mess we're in. This is really going to help us get there. I'm really, really excited about that happening for us.
That makes sense. There's a lot of frustration, I'm sure, on the bank side, our side, consumer side.
Absolutely. Now, the big part of this, as excited as I am on it, is, of course, once it is passed, it actually doesn't go into effect until the 1st of October this year. So anything that we're currently working on up until literally the 1st of October, this isn't going to apply. So I know there's a lot of homeowners that are starting to see those notice of sales pop up. The last 30 days, they are on the rise.
Yeah, notice of defaults are skyrocketing since the first of
the year. We're going back to it. The banks are going to start foreclosing. And how they're going to be able to do that ultimately is a lot laid out in here, in just the simple fact that you're not going to be able to wait until you get that notice of sale on your front door to say, okay, now I want to do a short sale. The bank's going to say, we mailed you a letter here, 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 and here. You failed to respond to all of these. I'm sorry, you didn't take a proactive approach to work with us. Therefore, we're not playing ball. We're taking your house back.
We're foreclosing, and we followed the checklist, so therefore we can foreclose now.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
It is. It is. The other part of the bill that helps to hold the bank accountable is the mess we were getting in before, knowing who owns my loan, who's the investor. Anytime you want information from the bank, you have to request it in writing, but it also is now forcing the bank's hand to be able to send you that documentation. So that's great for our homeowners who are going, I don't understand, my loan's been sold 12 times, who am I working with? We're trying to dig to the bottom of that.
Yeah.
This is also going to really help us in that aspect as well.
Okay. I have a question here, and I'm assuming some of you consumers watching this do as well. So if this doesn't go into effect till October, and the tax credit, and for those of you that aren't aware of it, that was extended through the end of this year. So if you were to do a short sale, there's basically no tax consequence. I mean, obviously you have to consult your CPA to confirm that, but if that doesn't start till October, and the tax credit expires at the end of the year, go into that a little bit, because I'm a little confused, concerned.
We were all, of course, really, really excited in December when we were able to have the Debt Forgiveness Act extended till the end of this year.
Absolutely.
Great help for our homeowners, so you're not having to pay taxes if you're an owner-occupant on that deficiency when you go through either A, a foreclosure or B, a short sale.
Yes.
I do not believe, especially with what they're setting up right now, for us to become really streamlined, that we're going to get a third chance at that. I think they're going to give us 2 chances. Very similar to when our homeowners, our buyers were buying homes, they were giving that tax credit. Buy a home, you'll get $6,000 tax credit. Well, the first couple of years, you had to pay it back. And then they went into, now you don't have to pay it back. And then they stopped it altogether. I think we have to be just realistic in, it's not always going to be there. It's not always going to last. No different than we didn't have it before. It is going to end, and we need to be prepared to do that. Yeah. So whereas I think they may take one thing away, it may help to say, okay, well, we're taking this from you. However, we now have this in place to help streamline this and make this a lot easier for you to hopefully soften that blow.
Okay. So do you think this is an indicator that the tax credit won't be extended because of this, or what?
Not necessarily because of this in particular. I just think we were able to get it extended, and it was wonderful, and I would be so grateful if we were able to do it again. Yeah. I'm just not going to hold my breath for it. I just don't trust it enough to be able to count on that. I think if it's something that you were banking on, it needs to be addressed now. It's April, with short sales taking on an average of 7 months to close. If you're not in the short sale process, it's going to be really tough to start closing you by December.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Okay, so I want to transition here a little bit. I wanted to talk about how this is impacting consumers potentially, and then how it's going to potentially impact our market as a whole. AB 284, when that law went into effect last October, that bottlenecked the inventory and stopped the foreclosure process, or stalled it, shall I say, which has really changed our market. So in concluding with the consumer side of it, what should consumers do? How is this impacting them? I know you kind of gave us an overview. Can you kind of tie it back together with what they should do if they're wanting to pursue this more? I know it doesn't really take effect till October.
Bottom line, what it comes down to is, if you're even contemplating a loan modification, short sale, any type of, I'm in a situation with my home and I just don't really know what I'm going to do, so I've kind of been stalling to see what happens. Yeah. It's time to take action. Without a doubt, everything that's going in is to make this better, to ultimately get us over this, and to hopefully have some really good solutions so we can start moving forward into better housing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So yeah, and prices have gone up 30%, projected to go up maybe another 10 this year. So you may not even be upside down in your home, and if you are, the short sale is probably the option for this year. And a lot of our clients are they're getting refinances right now as well, whether it's a streamline or just getting to a 30-year fixed, or switching from an FHA to a conventional loan and getting the interest rate down because prices have come up enough to where you can get a higher appraised value to do a refi. So that may be an option as well. All right, I just want to touch on the market as a whole here. How do you think this is going to impact our market and the inventory and what's going to be going on this winter?
I think it's going to do 2 things for us. I think we're going to see the short sales continue to take a rise up, because we know the process will hopefully be getting a little bit easier, more streamlined for us, knowing that as long as we're cooperating, we're saving ourselves from that foreclosure, which is the ultimate goal in a short sale. We don't want to be foreclosed on. I also think we're going to see the foreclosures come up. We're going to see a lot more communication coming in from the banks, and the banks are going to be very, I think, blunt with us and saying, we tried to reach out to you here, here, and here. You failed to respond. Therefore, we did our part. We're foreclosing on the house.
Yeah.
I think they're going to really cover their butts and do everything that they can to make sure that when they take possession of that property, they have followed these rules to a T.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think inventory is going to go up a little bit due to this? It's going to streamline things a bit?
Absolutely.
AB 284 did the opposite.
It did. It really did. It really slowed things down. There are parts of this bill that do include AB 284. I mean, they go very specific, again, being able to reach out to the bank. I want to know who my investor is. I want to see my note. I want to see my paperwork. Those are absolutely rights that you have. They address that in here, that you still have that.
Yeah.
Those instances may slow things a little bit down if we're trying to fight to get that paperwork and the bank's not responding to us. We're going to be able to hold that over their head. But ultimately, in the long run, the banks are ready to start foreclosing. They're ready to get us out of this hole that we're in. And I think items like this, where they're going to help us streamline the process, the ultimate goal is to get these homes sold, and that's where we're heading to.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so, in summary here, we just want to have a discussion on this to hopefully enlighten you a little bit and just educate you on it. This bill, we'll attach it just so you have 28 pages of jargon to read in case you're having trouble falling asleep one of these nights coming up. But, our advice on this would be to, one, reach out to somebody you entrust. If you want to work out something with your bank, talk to your bank. If you'd like legal counsel, we can refer you to our entrusted team of attorneys. If you need to talk to a CPA, if you'd like to speak with Erin, I mean, she's really got your best interest in mind. And oftentimes now it's not short sale. Sometimes it still is, but oftentimes there's other alternatives. So we look forward to having an educated conversation with you on this, so you can make the best informed decision. We hope this information was of value going over SB, what is it? 321. So this is Dale Snyder and Erin Camp with the Snyder Group. Thank you so much for your time.
Have a great day.